Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Chainlink, taking a look at the most recent price action and what I think is likely to happen next. Now as I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is down in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into today's video and start taking a look at what's been going on with the price action of Chainlink. What we'll do is we'll kick things off with the 1 hour time frame here. So here I have Chainlink paired up with USDT. We're on the Binance 1 hour chart. So we were looking previously here at a bit of a push to the upside. We were targeting out the 11.22.7 and $11.50.6, right? So you can see that right here. But we did actually move down deeper before we rallied on up. And this is actually an indication that things needed to go a little bit higher than we had mapped out here. So I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this a little bit to the scenarios that have actually played out here. Okay, so we're tracking this as a 5-wave move to the downside, where we had this as our 4th wave. We truncated our 5th wave, as in we ended here. We didn't actually do anything more than that. And it was a diagonal movement to the end there, and it just basically finished short of its target. We then saw a 3-wave move to the downside here. Again, it felt a little bit short of its range, and then we started this next run upwards, which again is another 5-wave movement, which we can see right here as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and that 4th and 5th wave movements are a little bit short of its target range as well, so it did truncate here. Now, why is all this important? This is important because we are tracking a few impulsive movements. Okay, so we have a zigzag pattern taking us to here. And we're starting another zigzag pattern over this side. It means that we still have further to the upside to go, and we are just in a 3-wave correction at the moment. You can note that there's a lot of fair value gaps here. This is being created from imbalances in the order books. Essentially, what this means is large institutional money has come piling into Chainlink, and it's created imbalances in the buying and selling areas, right? Basically, a imbalance in the supply and the demand, imbalances in the order books, and essentially it's allowed for these bigger candles to appear, and that's what these gaps are symbolizing, right? So these fair value gaps will have a tendency to get filled out. So we've seen a lot of these in the move to the upside. And once we kind of finish this off, which we can really only see a handful of more options there, we'll be looking for essentially a big correction to the downside. Now, we are overbought on the weekly and daily. We'll get to that in a moment. And we still are progressing upwards here on our hourly chart. But for the most part, my expectations are that we continue a little move to the downside. My range for this is going to be that we probably want to be looking at around this area here, this fair value gap, essentially between $10.18 and $10.40. This will basically allow us for a 3-wave correction to the downside, where we'll then be looking for a final kind of 5-wave move upwards, breaching the existing local high and probably piercing above $12 briefly. Okay, that's going to be my expectations on this one on the hourly. That will allow us then to start to think about the next moves to the downside. So let's go ahead and take a look at the daily, right? So the daily is already up in this kind of Y wave high, right? But we did pierce the higher range of this at $11.39. This essentially now transforms our WXY into a WXY, X, and Z. So we'll be still looking for that slight push higher here on the charts. We're not yet complete. So on this one, it still looks like we have a way to go, and we are overbought. So this next move to the upside around that kind of $12 range, I think is going to be the final move, and then we're likely to break on down. We can see that there are 2 fair value gaps here on the daily that are of interest to us. 770 is going to be that range of peak interest for me. As we can see, this happens to be where our EMAs and SMAs are. So the white line is our 200 EMA, that's $7.11. On the red line, that's the 50 EMA, that's $7.83.8. And on the yellow line here, this one is our 50 SMA, which is $7.47. I think finding support down here is going to be where we're looking at the moment, but ultimately that pattern to the downside, whatever does form here, is going to give us an indication that we have had further to the downside back into our accumulation range at $4.76 to $5.88, or whether we find new support up in this range. But what I'll do is I'll zoom out here and you can kind of see we've been in this ranged market for a very long time for Chainlink, pretty much since 2022, June and May of 2022. Around here we've just been ranging sideways, bouncing from the low side to the high side. This most recent surge to the upside is great, but it hasn't really taken us out of the danger zone just yet. Considering how it has moved at the moment is very corrective. Essentially, it does mean that we have the potential to fall right back into the range, and this is the range of accumulation. Now, if I take this out towards our weekly, we can still see here that we have a W, X, Y, X, and Z pattern in play. Although we have moved up slightly higher right now, it still is a technical requirement for us to move on down into this range. Okay, so we had that continuation pattern, the accumulation that we've had for quite some time, and we are still now targeting out this low range. Although we pushed up higher, it has lifted our low end targets ever so slightly. It's now $2.17 to $5.09, and then from here we can see, you know, pretty decent price appreciation, which if I were to take a look at the ghost bars that I've put on here, you can see that we will be targeting out some very interesting numbers on Chainlink. I'm just going to put this back up to where it needs to be now, $48.84 to $112.67, sorry, as you can kind of see here. And then of course on the higher range we have the ability to kind of target out between the 1 and the 1.236. Now these particular areas basically mirror that of the existing A wave structure, which would put us between $324 and $1,000 per link. Now, for anyone who kind of caught up with the video that I did on Chainlink a few, I guess, weeks ago, I jumped into the on-chain analytics for Chainlink, and there are some interesting developments with the number of wallets that actually hold significant portions of the circulating supply of Link. Now, in that analysis is an indication that there's a lot of institutional interest in Chainlink for the obvious reasons, and a majority of the supply is actually held at that institutional level. Now, that could mean that these large whale investors on Chainlink have the capability of actually hodling that supply for such a significant period of time that there is a significant shrinkage of the supply, and as demand increases we are going to see a potential move that I think is just going to be very, very shocking to many retail investors, where the price moves up very, very rapidly. Now, if I'm right on this, then we do have the potential to hit a $300 link, which would be absolutely insane, considering, you know, where it is today. Now, that in itself, it doesn't sound like it's an amazing amount of X's. There's definitely a better number of X's to be had from other protocols. But in terms of something that is as solid from a technological point of view and an integration into the blockchain world and Web3 as Chainlink, I think is a reasonable return on investment for such a prominent player in the space. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. I think for the most part, we'll obviously pay close attention to the $48 to $112 range, but a $328 link, I can see a technical move there where we see very, very nice growth overall. Of course, it would mean that we'd still have to move down into this low Z wave in the future, but for now, it's looking very, very good in the future here for Chainlink. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, but I think I'm going to wrap this video up right there. If you have found this useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.